gentlemen, we came here to make you move.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Stranger by the Hour, episode 167, February 12th, and we got Marcus Timmons back with us, Big Herc. So you know what it is. We ain't going to waste any time. Let's just fucking crack it off. What's up, fellas?
What's up, happening? Man? We were talking about the Epstein files, of course.
Yeah. So Herc, we talked about it a little bit on our last show, man. What do you think's going on with all these drops?
I think some people are trying to consolidate power, and people who have fallen out of favor are going to get pretty much destroyed, and we will see some big names be dropped, and shit's going to happen. See, a lot of times we think like we got to go out and do something. There's ways to do something. If you expose a person, it's almost like being on the yard and somebody finds out about something and it leaks. The police just let it happen. You don't even have to do nothing. It's going to take on its own course, however that happens, but that person will get whatever justice that is going to go to them. So they'll drop something to another inmate, or maybe they'll send a mail call to somebody else's cell by accident, purposely. You know what I mean? And I see right now, they're dropping all these different things, and the people who are like, oh man, don't worry about this, we should go on to something else, they're trying to deflect. But in all actuality, like, they've kind of set it up to where they think like we're not going to make a big deal, but there are people who really are not putting up with the Moloch fucking sacrifices, and shit's gonna roll, bro. Not everybody is as blind as they were during the pandemic, as far as like conscious. People are a lot more awake now, and even though they're trying to like kind of downplay it, like, think about this. Everything that we talked about, remember they said the QAnon stuff was it's all true.
Everything. Well, at least the pizza, at least like the Pizzagate shit. At least the Pizzagate. At least a lot of the I agree.
Well, in psychological operations, it is important that not all of your information that you put out is a lie, and it's almost like 80-20 type shit, where 80% has to be true. And then your 20% is that you sneak in there the information that you want. So it has to be verifiable enough that if somebody digs into your psychological operation, that they'll like, oh, that it's backstopped. Backstopping is a term that is backstopped with correct information. Whereas the 20% in QAnon was that, the good guys were coming, that there's white hats that are letting you get poisoned and letting your kids get stolen and letting all this crazy shit go down, like, so that you shouldn't do anything about it. You should stay on the internet doing like General Flynn's fucking sleuthing army. Stay in your living room, like don't actually take active measures against the evil arrayed against you. Like that's the 20% underneath.
Dude, I just we're in a tough spot, because having been exposed to all that QAnon stuff and Pizzagate stuff, and we're three people that have been paying attention long enough. Like, we were already paying attention during the pandemic and stuff, right? So we're not experiencing all this stuff for the first time. Like, some of the normies, your average normie, like you and me and Cody and anybody else, could tell someone at work or some person we know and try to get them hip to the skip about what's going on. And because it's coming from us, they're going to be like, okay, you're crazy, right? But as soon as it comes through their trusted conduits of information, like the mainstream media or whatever Twitter accounts they follow, they give credence to, now they're paying attention, and now they're gonna like put some stock in it. But so there's millions of these emails, and we're reading it, and we're now reading about things that we've been thinking about since back in Pizzagate or whatever, right? But what we don't actually have any way of doing is verifying like which of these like salacious, insane, scary emails is actually true, which is some sort of fabrication. Maybe like Cody said, there's some percentage of them are true, and then they're sprinkling in extra stuff for what reason we don't know. But it's like real tough because it's going to be like everything else. There's not going to be any kind of like, hey, look, we could like, caught red-handed, here's the actual proof, unless we get to see some of those pictures. And then pictures are just images, and now we know that images can be, you don't know what you're looking at ever. It's tough.
Going back to like, let's just go back to what is his name, Anthony Weiner's laptop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now think about that, right? Think about how many people they said so-called had accidents behind looking at that video footage. And we never still know what was on there.
Dude, a bunch of the detectives that allegedly saw that shit have allegedly killed themselves.
Yes, it was like 12 people that saw that or something are dead.
Some highly coincidental number.
Oh man, you can't, dude. There's not that many coincidences in life, bro. You know what I mean?
I don't think there's any, dude. I think there's like synchronicities. I don't think there's. Yeah. I think there's synchronicities, really, and then maybe occasionally a coincidence or whatever, but normally not. They're meaningful coincidences,
Well, so the information dealing with Pizzagate, it went through what Michael Hoffman calls freezing. In Michael Hoffman's book, Twilight Language, who also wrote a book on psychological operations, he calls the process freezing and thawing. So immediately after some kind of event, say like the Kennedy assassination, for example, and are you going to hold the book up?
Well, this is Secret Societies and Psychological Warfare, but it's another good one.
Michael Hoffman?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the one he wrote before Twilight Language. So what they'll do in a case like the Kennedy assassination, like 9/11, there'll be an immediate freezing of crazy ideas outside, right? There's automatically a guy that did it. Lee Harvey Oswald or Osama bin Laden. Like there's automatically a dude that they have immediately, like within fucking some hours or maybe days, but it's an immediately short amount of time. And they also then have the immediate story. I mean, think about a murder investigation, like 80% or some odd of murders don't get solved, but these people know exactly what happened within like a very short amount of time. Yeah. So, and then they freeze any spurious questions about what could have happened. Like some ladies like, oh, well, I was standing next to the grassy knoll and I saw fucking the former CIA director or some shit over there, there's a freezing of any other weird information. And then since it's such an anomalous situation, 9/11, Kennedy, Charlie Kirk, like the information doesn't sit right. Humans have a way to see the fucking truth. The truth is axiomatic. It's an axiom. What goes up must come down. Water's wet. Your soul knows the fucking truth. So people are going to start asking questions. So after a while, they let a little bit of information thaw out, and then a little bit of more information thaw out, and then a little bit of more information thaw out. And so people start to, much like Pizzagate, like you look at the Podesta art fucking collection and you're like, yeah, that's weird. And you start looking into those artists and you're like, yeah, this is some sick shit. Like what's with all these rabbits beating kids to death and shit on this artwork? Like what the fuck is... But within that thawing, they get you to look at all that spurious shit, right? Which, like Aaron says, correct. You're never going to get the right answer for that shit. They draw you away from the signal and the noise. The signal and the noise is the event itself and what came after, the cause and the effect. So Kennedy got his head blown the fuck off in the middle of everybody in some fucking slow S curve that he should have never been in. In a fucking in a convertible he probably should have been in, and then what happens? We go into fucking Vietnam forever that he didn't want, and the Israelis get a fucking nuke apropos of nothing. And
CIA doesn't get dismantled and
the CIA doesn't
spread of the wind.
The guy that he fired from the CIA becomes the guy that investigates him getting fucking murdered, right? And then 9/11. Well, okay, we go fight in Afghanistan for 20 fucking years, and nobody questions it. It's this. So I think what's going on with this bullshit is it's been bubbling under the surface. Oh, the satanic panic. Like, oh man, some of it got out in the 80s. We got to squash that shit. We got to freeze it. It's not true. It's the satanic panic, right? No big deal. Because I don't think it was the type of shit was meant to get out like that that daycare center that got
Franklin's,
investigated.
or not Franklin.
Not the Franklin scandal, but there was another
The
daycare.
the daycare in LA, right?
Yeah, where all the kids were like, "Yo, we're getting taken out in tunnels and fucking molested." Right.
Yeah.
Well, too, I was looking at some old footage was popping up on my feed. Remember, Geraldo Rivera? He had some kids on his show, and they were talking about how they were violated, bro. Like literally. And I was young, so I wasn't really probably paying attention when they had these kind of shows on. But there were kids, really victims. Like, dude, it was right in our face. The kids were saying, like, "What did he do to you?" Well, he wanted me to kill the kid and drink the blood, and then they touched my privates, and then they did this. And I mean, dude, this is not made up shit. So when we look back, archived stuff, a lot of what they're talking about, Phil Donahue had a lot of these cultists on there, and they were talking about dad would sacrifice, make us go down there and participate, and my family and everybody in the audience is sitting like this, right? But nobody really did anything, because you got to remember back then, the average person worked during the day. You had the maybe stay-at-home mom watching this, maybe with between cooking for dinner, and so the people who would be paying attention, the kids and all the people, there wasn't access. But now with this phone, everybody sees, so it's like they didn't count on that. So like you said, when it's out now, then you start looking back, bro, this shit, like you said, the Franklin investigation,
Franklin scandal,
yeah.
I got that book up there. These people have been doing this shit forever. It's forever. It's just now becoming public. But if you go back and you look at like even a lot of the Hollywood stuff, a lot of the old Faces of Death videos, there's shit that was out there, and you just got to put it all together. And now we got investigative journalism with people who really just sit around and crunch the numbers, and it's different.
Well, you hit on a big thing. It just made me think, because like, think of how different our paradigm is right now. So let's say it's like 1986, right? And I see that Phil Donahue episode, and I'm like, damn, I get interested, and then I find out a little bit about the daycare scandal or something, and it like freaks me out a little bit. I try to talk to somebody at work, and they're like, dude, shut up. Like, what are you talking about, right? Nowadays, if I have that same experience, I jump on the internet and I can instantly link up with thousands of other people that are similarly freaked out, and we can get in a Reddit, we can get in a Discord server somewhere, we can start chatting. It's very easy to like make relationships with people and collaborate on this kind of shit. And whether you're dealing with accurate information or not, you start sharing and building a community around it. Boom. And I think that's the main difference now. Like we just have so much access to information and the ability to share with one another.
We can aggregate the energy it takes to investigate this shit.
There you go. Yeah. It like builds on itself. And, I think now, like, if there's any like room for positivity, it's that, it could, like, we agree that this shit has been going on, I think, forever. I think this is a facet of our human experience in some way. I think it makes you come in contact with shit where, like, I think a lot of people now, I've even seen it on Twitter, people having this conversation kind of, they're like, hey, look, now's the point where you have to really ask yourself, do you believe that there's such a thing as objective evil or not? Like, is evil real, Because some people, this is the first time they're really encountering something like that. And so,
Yeah, I think the discussion, because of like, even though they have technology and they've used it for control, but there's certain things you can't count on. Even the people who are setting all this shit up, that goes beyond their control bubble. It's like having a glass jar with all these different bugs and stuff in them, and you don't know after a certain point what's going to happen from that. And with this right here, with like now you're talking about, like you said, the Pizzagate. Then you talk about the daycare. Then we look at stuff going on in the music industry. Then you look at some of these artists before, and then you look at them after. You look at the tattoos. You start adding it up. You're like, now, at what point did they change to get the tattoo? Then when did their career take off? And then you got to look at how the music and entertainment industry's relation with politicians. And now you start putting it all together, and it makes a lot of sense. And people have to, the hard part is separating the act from the person. So you look at it, this is a celebrity. I don't want them to be it, but this other person, I can accept this person. And sometimes you're going to get your feelings hurt because there are people doing shit your whole life. You thought that they were really something special. I mean, look at the evidence now coming out about Michael Jackson. He was saving the kids.
Yeah.
He was saving, bro. He had a safe haven, you know, and they literally, like, they're saying this guy became a target, you know, so.
It's easy for me to say now, but, you know, being like, I always knew, but like, I never really bought into Michael Jackson being a child molester. I just didn't. I mean, I did grow up. I loved Michael Jackson. Like my whole family, like we were big on Michael Jackson. So that might've been my bias or something, but I just didn't buy it. I just thought it was weird. And then, you know, nowadays you find out that Rabbi Shmuley was this like personal rabbi up until the point where he died. I'm like, oh, clearly Shmuley killed him. Like, obviously, you know, like a little, you know, I get fired up thinking about Shmuley. I don't know why that guy triggers me.
When you listen to some of his interviews now, they're leaking recordings of like him and like when he was with Madonna or talking to different people. He says, I didn't want to go to the strip club. She told me this and I'm not doing this. And so-and-so told me this. And I believe in Jesus. I don't believe in this. So Michael Jackson, but they were trying to control him like a puppet because you got to remember he's pre-Kanye, all these people. He had power. So
dude, you remember, think back to the time. It was like probably 86 or something that Thriller came out, the album. Dude, he was the most famous person on the planet, no doubt about it. Like I remember very specifically Michael Jackson and when he was at his peak. I mean, he was like entertainment, you know, like that's so much. And like to your point, like when they interview him and stuff, he comes off, he's kind of like childlike and naive and like innocent seeming, you know. He's not like he doesn't sound like a guy like you know, like Jay-Z or Kanye or something when they talk, when they know, because those guys know how much power they have and they're like very aware of it and they talk about it, you know what I mean? And they're power player type guys. Michael Jackson was just like a tool, you know what I mean? Like not in a bad way. I just mean like
I think also with Michael Jackson, right? And the fact that he owned so much of his own stuff and he was actually helping people buying masters and giving them back. Yeah. Michael Jackson to the system, bro, he was an issue. And it's like if you can't control something like that, they just destroy it. I mean, this guy, you know what I mean?
Well, and you know, like we might have even talked about this before, that like clause in these guys' contracts, the death clause, where you know, when these artists die, the product, you know, whoever they sign their deal with owns the rights to in perpetuity to like if the deal is structured this way, and a lot of them have it this way, where they own the rights to their all their stuff post death, right? So at a certain point, if they become a pain in the ass, it's more profitable for the record company for them to be dead. And you know, these artists die, like Prince dies, right?
I was going to bring up Prince, yeah.
And for the next like 5 years, he, you know, Prince is Prince or whatever, and he kind of reaches his peak and is on the downslope. Then he dies and he's back up again selling records, you know?
Well, Prince was another one where he was a problem because he switched his name to the artist formerly known as Prince to try to get out from underneath that shit, to get out from underneath those contracts, man. Like, yeah.
You know, another difference too, when you guys just mentioned Prince and Michael Jackson, they used to be like also a part of their stage acts. See, Michael Jackson would go out there and make sure, you know what I mean? They weren't just showing up and there's a pentagram on the ground and they would just be cool.
Yeah. They were legitimate artists.
Prince was very conscious. Michael Jackson was very conscious. Like they weren't doing that where you got these guys now and you got the mouth of ball behind you and you're because you got the chain and you know what I mean?
Travis Scott doing a ritual and people dying at his ritual. And then people are just being so naive and they're like, weird, you know, and it's like, no, not weird. This is a very, so that touches on the thing back to the Epstein files. It's going to be interesting to see what people are willing to like accept. Right. So I think we're getting to the point where people are, when I say people, I just mean like your average, like normie, you know, voter, like your average voter, right? Is like, oh shit, you know, maybe it is the case that these people really are doing sex trafficking, and like it's kind of undeniable, like if you take these emails seriously. But are they going to go the next step and be like, okay, for some of these people, they're practicing a dark religion, like this stuff serves a higher purpose in their metaphysics. It's not just they're trying to get a nut on a 12-year-old girl. It's deeper than that. It's like they believe that this is a source of their power, and they're probably right. Like, it is, even if you don't believe in the woo-woo, like metaphysical aspect of them getting power from this, they get power from it in this way. Let's say I'm a up and coming venture capital guy, right? And that business is all about relationships and networking and who I can plug into to get these deals done or whatever, right? Somehow I get in Epstein's orbit. I end up at some mansion in New York or some ranch in New Mexico or some island, and now if I get down like these guys get down, then maybe I can be in their network. You know what I mean? And so that is a source of power. Now, next thing you know, I've got $500 million in equity under contract or something because I'm partying with these guys. Because that's how I got that access. So, maybe there's an actual participate in the ritual and somehow Satan gives you power. Maybe. I mean, there's also good.
Oh, so there's an app you get on your phone now where you can mimic the trades that Pelosi does, that members of Congress do. I forgot the name of the app.
It's Unusual Whales, I think.
I think there's another one called like Rocket or something like that. But so they post like on Instagram saying like, oh, check it out. This person just made a $500,000 purchase ahead of, $1 billion acquisition by the government in this industry right here. And it's like, So Aaron's right. If you are willing to participate in these rituals or whatever the price is, yeah, man, you'll get told like, hey, man, or you'll just be allowed into the room where the thing is being discussed. Like, yeah, man, we're going to purchase a, fucking $1 billion worth of Raytheon shit. And you're like, oh, okay, well, let me slide, $500,000 of my own money or, whatever it is. And without your participation, you don't gain access to that information.
Yeah. You were saying participate. You guys remember the movie Devil's Advocate?
Dude, I was thinking about that. We're in the part of that movie where at the end of the movie, that guy pulls Keanu Reeves to the side to let him know that piece of shit he was defending was just found with a dead little girl in the trunk of his fucking car.
The Getty's case, 8th grade teacher. They found him yesterday. He had the body of a 10-year-old girl in the trunk of his car.
I gotta watch that again. That's got Pacino in it too, right? Isn't he play the devil?
Yeah.
I got it. That's a good one. I gotta watch that.
He has the women that are like basically his demons that are part of seducing. And then remember Keanu Reeves' wife in the movies like getting all drained. Like she's like she's like, please, and he's like kind of like, it's kind of like the battle of conscience of good and evil when people like have these intentions and whether or not you act on them, and then you allow yourself to maybe be convinced of something, and people want to say, well, that was my subconscious, whatever. But who's to say that that's not like some dark demonic spirit kind of like trying to enter your vessel? Because I was listening to a guy and he made it kind of interesting. Imagine if you have all these condemned souls running around and they don't have nothing to do. They need, in order to feel and eat, they need to enter a vessel. So in order to have any type of pleasure and to experience what it's like again, they have to enter a temporary vessel to kind of, whether it's consume food or fornicate or whatever the case may be, because they can't leave here. And so they're running around, and the more empty a vessel is with all the lack of belief and faith, it's easier for that vessel to be entered into. But if you have a strong vessel that has maybe a concrete foundation that's more conscious, that vessel it's easy. It can defend. It can hear the voices. It knows what it's dealing with. So it's a little bit harder to get into. But if you have a bunch of these empty ones, you can build an army. You can participate. You can move different things. You can influence. So I feel like on a very like metaphysical level, it's it's like you said, that they believe in something, but they're getting power from it too. It's like showing, it's like showing allegiance. It's like they showed, what was it? It wasn't Jimmy Kim. What's the other guy? But he had the baby. And he was on stage. I forgot the late night guy, and he went over to like a thing, and he's like, "Oh, the baby's gonna be all right. Oh, here, Moloch, I got a sacrifice." And he was playing around on stage, and people were just looking. But
you know what I'm
talking about? What's that guy?
Stephen Colbert.
To me, I must feed you. I must feed you to the northwest. No, take him. No, take the baby. Take the baby.
Stephen Colbert. So you don't think that shit's, I mean, bro, you don't play like that. You don't, that's not the type of stuff you do to get a laugh, man. They got to put it out there, and then that's a deflection. And then later on, you know,
right.
Like, okay.
They put it out there in a trivial way because our orientation to all that stuff should be like, hey, we don't even joke about that, you know, because you know how like some religious people are like that, where they're like, you know, and when you're not religious like that, you're like, you're lame, like, you know, don't be so lame or whatever. But you know, there's something to, you know, like, hey, we don't, you know, Muslims are usually better about keeping it tight like that. They're like, hey, we don't put any salacious imagery up. We don't put, you know, they're really into imagery and stuff. But hey, dude, and then it seems silly, right? Until you get to a point where we're reading these Epstein emails and we're like, shit, we should be taking this good evil stuff a little more seriously, you know, dude. And like we all did wild stuff when we were younger, man. Like I definitely had my guard down to where I don't think I've ever been like had a deep, like a necessarily demonic thing in me or anything, but dude, but I was susceptible to it for sure. Like I was living a very hedonistic lifestyle, you know, like I generally didn't want to, you know, I like treated people well. I'm not, it wasn't like a monster or anything, but like, dude, you're running around like the shit we were doing, like we're killing people and joking about it, you know, like in war, you know, not like out on the streets, but it's still like we were like, we cheapened human life, you know what I mean? And like stuff like that. I think that's what you can become susceptible to, like these energies getting in you. I always talk about this stupid book, but it's called Screw Tape Letters. C.S. Lewis wrote it. It's really thin book. You know, take just like a couple hours to read, but it described exactly what you were talking about with the demon stuff. And when I read that book, it totally changed my perspective. It's just a fictional book, but it's like a kind of like a leadership level demon and his minion, and they keep having these meetings about how his minion is going to get inside this guy's head. And, you know, this basically what you just described is kind of laid out in this book in a series of dialogues, but it's a really good book.
Dude, when I got arrested the day when I caught my case, it was like I was there and I'm like, it just something snapped. What the fuck was that? It just snapped out of like, I was like, dude, what am I doing? You know what I mean?
Like once you got booked, the thing left. Basically,
when I was on the beach laying with the handcuffs, looking at the Pacific Ocean in Ventura on the sand, on the sidewalk, and I'm listening like, dude, game over. It's almost like, haha, I took you where I wanted to go and I'm out. Pew! You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
People don't want to go to jail. It don't want to hang out in there. I mean, there are some in there, but it like took off. So once I got to where I was going, my consciousness was like so awake, and I'm like, damn, man, why do I have to? And I started hearing stuff, you know, guys telling me about sovereignty and this and that. I'm like, oh man, I got played. I got duped. You know what I mean? So it's like it took me there, and then my whole journey was a level of consciousness where I'm looking at other guys doing time, and they're like, yeah, and they're just chilling. And I'm like, dude, why can't I just chill like that? Why can't I can't get into being comfortable and just hanging out and watching the Sopranos and, you know, chilling and watching the games. I was always on some time like I got to get out. So because you didn't really belong in there. That's the thing. You didn't need, that's probably why you were spinning like that, because you didn't really need, you probably figured out almost instantly that you didn't need to be in there. Like, you're like, I got the point. Like, I'm not going to do that anymore. But then you had to sit and do, you know, that's, and and I'm quite sure you felt it before, but I would do a lot of meditation and prayer when I would go out there, and I would walk by guys And there was a level of evil that I felt walking by some people, bro, that I've never felt, like a darkness. Like, you know, dudes that you didn't even look at, you could look in their eyes and they're just cold. Like some of these dudes, you're like, wow, man. And you couldn't put a finger on it, but you knew there was something wasn't right, man.
I was never around. I don't have any memories of the military, but a couple times in my life, I've just bumped into people that I got like a weird, like that kind of vibe from. Not people I didn't even know, just like on site, like got real. And it was just weird, you know, like.
So a couple things interesting about going back to that devil's advocate conversation. In that movie, dude, that's one of the best movies ever, man. And,
I gotta watch
but
it again.
everything Al Pacino offers Keanu Reeves is an offer. And almost simultaneously that he offers him the dark path, he also offers him an out. You know, like when he's always offering like, you know, don't worry about it, Kevin. You don't got to take this one, or you got to, hey, go back and spend some time with your wife, man. You don't have to come with me and bang these broads, you know, like he's always offering him the way out, you know, and that's a lot of the things what it seems like in this realm, you know, like even in the military shit is it's always an offer. It's like, oh, well, you don't got to do all that crazy shit, but you know, you probably won't get promoted. You know, you won't be as competitive if you don't do these deployments. You know, you could stay in America and pump tires, you know, but the guy with 4 deployments, he's going to get promoted ahead of you. You know, there's always like a little incentive to take that fucking wrong turn, man. And the other interesting thing, and Aaron hit me to a fucking awesomely sinister, fucking depressing or potentially uplifting movie, but I forgot the name of it. Do you remember the name of the movie where it's a psychologist that's going in to talk to a dude on death row, and the dude on death row is possessed by a demon?
Dude, it's so good.
That's just the devil himself. Like
it's a one-word title. Let me
like
try to figure out.
It's not Insidious. It's like
yeah, it is Insidious.
Is it Insidious?
Or something like that. Keep talking. I'll figure it out. But that's
so in that movie. You know, it's a demon. I don't know if he ever says he's the actual devil. I don't think he says that.
He doesn't say he's the devil. He's just a demon.
And Satan is like a title, right? Like Lucifer is more like an entity, and Satan is like an adversary, you know. But so what he says in there is that
hey, it's nefarious. By the way,
nefarious is the name of the movie, man. I highly recommend that fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the guy says, and it flashes between times where it's the guy that the demon possessed, and then it's the demon himself. And the demon, the psychologist, is like an atheist, and his girlfriend is in the process of about to go to an abortion clinic and get a fucking abortion. And the demon is like, hey, you know, by the end of this day, you're gonna have killed 3 people. You know? And the guy's like, what are you talking about? I was like, yeah, your old lady's, you know, on her way to an abortion clinic right now, and like we love nothing better on this demon side than for you to kill your own children. I mean, that's fucking the best thing in the world for us. So what the demon ends up saying, I really like the metaphysical lore and history of sort of like this type of topic, is it goes back to those people in prison that, you know, you didn't belong there, you know, you snapped out of it. And in that movie Nefarious, when the demon exits momentarily to go do demon business, to go check in with a screw tape boss, it snaps back to the poor fucking broken soul, man, who's in there. And he's like this pathetic dude, man, just some pathetic dude that took all the wrong fucking offers. And had he not been given the offers or taken the offers, it just would have been a dude, man, you know, but now he's in there and the demon fucks with him, right? Like you get your last meal, so that while it's I don't want to, no spoilers, dude, but the demon just is constantly getting the guy's ass whipped, you know, like, cause he's still back there in the back while the demon's in control, you know? So in the lore is, hey man, the lore says that there's fucking fallen angels down here with us, you know, that this place was the garden. This is our place. This is our garden. This is our classroom for humanity. This is our paradise. And what, 33% of the fucking angels got froggy and got kicked fucking down here with us, man. So if you're stuck here forever, and this goes to those fucking lunatics that want to live forever, you know, and like one of Kurt Metzger's fucking theories is that, you know, there's already people that have taken the fucking immortality deal and they're in here with us. You know, they've already sold their fucking brain to like the brain in the jar thing. And once you've given up your fucking humanity like that, and you're just in here with the rest of us, like, what are you going to do? Except for to fuck with us, you can never touch again. You can never feel again. You can never experience love again. You can never reap the benefit of the garden. You can never reap the benefit of the love in this place. So you hate it. You have to tear a motherfucker down. It's like the ultimate player hater's ball. Like I hate on a motherfucker till they ain't got shit. It's like the player hater's ball to a fucking metaphysical level, man. What are your thoughts?
Dude, and the emails back that up a little bit too, because some of those stuff I was reading, if you look at the way they talk about people in general, like they're very like on some like calling everybody the dumb goy. It's very clear that group of people, I mean, it's obvious because they're rich psychopaths, but like they're I think it's very clear that they don't feel beholden to the rules that govern the rest of our behavior at all. They're completely disconnected from our legal and like ethical system,
Yeah, and I feel like for them, the greater the act of humiliation, the more power, whether it's like you're hearing about like a lot of these IG models going over and doing these things with these guys over in the Middle East, or they call them the yacht girls or yacht boys,
or the ones that are always going to Dubai and shit.
Yeah, the ones who are hanging out on these yachts with these people that are being exploited, and so that disconnect, because the more they do that with money and power, the more they get disconnected, and then it just becomes like that's the norm. But like that norm for the person over here, we recognize that's not right, and so they're trying to make it seem like it's normal. But when it gets the covers pulled back on it, and then people start really pointing it out, they're so possessed. They're just like, "Oh man, what do you mean? Oh, yeah. So-and-so was there. Oh, this person was there. I was there with them, and we were all doing it. It was so cute. They had the person. I mean, dude, they showed videos with people look like they were tied up like damn chickens, bro, from Costco.
I seen that shit.
And I mean, crazy. Dude, that's sick. I mean, but for me personally, it doesn't like, not to say like I'm just like, wow, and keep it pushing, but I because I've read so much stuff, this evil I know existed in these people, but they're coming out of the darkness now. Like the stuff is, it used to be they would hide like the demons. Now, I mean, literally you see them like the witches, the warlocks, these people, because they've integrated into society in a way where you're thinking, oh man, that's you're being, what is the word? You're being anti-something if you say something about, that's just their style. That's just this. But these are public demons, bro. These are public.
Dude, that made me think of something really crazy. So there was this email exchange between Steve Bannon and Epstein. So come to find out, they're like besties, right? So Bannon was helping. This is after Jeffrey Epstein's first arrest and conviction for whatever they got him in 2008, the first one where he got the sweetheart deal, that whole shit. So it's Steve Bannon trying to rehabilitate Epstein's image for him, and they were working on a documentary. So that's why there's all this footage. There's a bunch of archival footage of Bannon interviewing Epstein, and like you can watch at other places. But so one of the things that was happening in his email exchange is Bannon got on like Fox News or something about something not related to Epstein, and they were interviewing him, and he was emailing Jeffrey Epstein about it. And he's like, hey, I don't know if you noticed, but I was doing the wizard's hand signals. This is literally what he says. I was doing the wizard's hand signals, but the Chiron was blocking me and you couldn't see it. And Epstein's like, yeah, I saw that you tried though. Like Steve Bannon, who's one of the most powerful political players, one of the most powerful political players in the country, got Trump elected the first time. He's the architect of all of Trump's campaign shit the first time. Happens to be buddies with Epstein and happens to be talking about wizard hand. And we all know they do all the Freemason shit all the time.
Well, here, watch this. Hey, Aaron, what am I trying to tell you?
Ceasefire.
Yeah. It's hand signals.
You know what I mean? To your point, these are the things that are starting to. So the fact that people use hand signals and practice some sort of witchcraft shit is something that like conspiracy people know about. but you sound like a nutcase if you say it. Well, now it's kind of coming out that it's like there, yeah, it's, and then like everyone should know it at this point, because go watch the Senate or any of these congressional hearings, or anytime any big muckety mucks being filmed talking when they're doing their thing. Look in the background, and somebody will be standing there with their hands weird every single time somebody's in the background doing weird hand signal shit. It's like it's
Why
like
do you-
Eddie State.
Why do you think they normalize hand signals for gangs? Bro, that's part of the game to get you used to this shit. I used to fight dudes in the club. We'd be in the club. You see a dude, he said, what? Hold on, he just did that, boop, boop, pop, pop. Next thing you know, we're going at. Oh, that's how programmed. So it's no different where if you're representing and you're a gang member and Aaron, you're on stage, and before you leave, you're going to walk off and throw a sign. That's your allegiance. You got to show allegiance to your God, whatever your God is. And that's what these people are doing. And they're doing it in your face. But because they got the bag nullifies everything. I got the bag, I got the mansion, I got the cars, I got the girls.
So hold on. So the bag nullifies most of it, but it made me think. Just another way I've been thinking about this lately is like, okay, like everyone sees what's going on, everyone gets pissed, and let's say the best case scenario happens, right? And America gets activated, and we literally like pull these people out of their fancy offices and all their places, and we imprison them or kill them or whatever we do. We stop them, right? We're like, we read the emails. You list of like 300 people that are implicated in this. You're all going down. We're going to imprison you. We're going to take care of this, right? So we get them, right? Well, all you've done is you've got that crop. You've cut the top of the fucking grass a little bit, right? But if you want to defend yourself from that kind of evil, you have to do way more stuff. So okay, let's take the girls, for example, like these girls that get recruited at like Mar-a-Lago or Ghislaine meets one at a massage parlor and gets her, wherever they find these girls, right? They're finding vulnerable girls. The girls are vulnerable because our culture, our society is weak, and we have young, beautiful women that are susceptible and vulnerable because they don't have a dad. There's some sort of gap in the situation that's exploitable by these creeps. Okay. So in order to fight the creeps, you have to close the gaps. You have to strengthen your culture and society. You have to you know what I mean? Like you stand up to the bully by strengthening yourself. You know what I mean? And so obviously we got to stop these people wherever we find them and do whatever, of course. Right. But also we have to wonder, like, why are we so susceptible to these people? Why do they have, and it's not just money. It's not just money that I'd like to think that if I had a daughter, I would raise her to the point where there's no way some dysgenic, weird looking Jewish guy is going to spit some game to her at the golf club she works at. And next thing you know, she's going to be in, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't happen to women that have a good, structure in their life. I think
you have to have that voice of consciousness. Going back to what you said, when I went to prison, like in the back of my mind, I always had my grandma. My grandma used to have talks with me, and my grandma, she wasn't perfect. She had, whatever little, but she morally, she was like always, she's always telling me, God don't like ugly. Don't say that. Don't do this, blah, blah, blah. Treat people this way. She was the nicest person. So if you don't have that person, and, she would go to church when she could and, blah, 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 but she wasn't like a holy roller, all the time, but she had a moral compass and a soul that kind of gave me a balance. So I was able to go back to that. But if you don't have that, if you don't even have that, because I didn't have a dad or nothing, but that gave me a place where there was some goodness. A lot of these people don't have no goodness. If you got Roblox, that damn video, OnlyFans, whatever else you got going, all these different things, and then you're at home and there's nobody sitting with you and giving you the love or values or teaching you some things about, maybe scripture, even if it's not serious, but things that give you like good moral value and a base, bro, your base is empty. You can fill that shit with anything. You could put, poo-poo, you could put this, you could put that. I mean, you're going to have a shit base. So when you go out into the world, it don't matter like what you told your daughter. You didn't give her a base. You might've gave her nice clothes. You might've gave her a roof over her head. You gave her that, but you didn't give her the base. The base is what saves your kids. The base is what keeps you going when you're challenged with one of these situations. you know the kind of exit, like, you know what, my dad, blah blah blah. I remember my grandma. I'm out, girls. Oh, girl, you're gonna miss out, but go ahead. I'm cool. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go home. Yeah. She'll leave. Her friends will keep going because they don't have that. They never had it. You know what I mean? They never had that place where they could reflect, because I did a lot of reflection, and most people, I mean, and you're young, you don't really have a lot to reflect on, but if you have somebody instead of your own experiences that you're like, I remember having those talks, dude, that saves your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, it's funny what your grandmother said about God doesn't like ugly. That's straight up Pythagorean. You know, Pythagoras talking about, his Platonic solids and symmetry. I mean, if you look at nature, which is the representation of God in the material world, it's symmetrical. You know, we were watching this Bear Grylls show. I can't remember if he drank his piss on this one or not, but so basically he parachuted into this area, which was a cloud forest. It was a forest in South America where for the majority of the time it's such a high of elevation that it's in the clouds. And while he's stomping around there trying to follow rivers down, because if you lost, just follow a river. Humanity congregates around rivers. As he's trying to like find the low ground and find the river out, he stumbles across in the middle of this fucking jungle like this beautiful orchid. And he referred to it as the extravagance of God. Like there was potentially no chance that any human was ever going to see that flower. Right. But this creation that we're in is so beautiful. It's so decorated with beauty and everywhere that you look, that I can walk out into the woods right now, right? Probably in the dead of winter, and find some beautiful flowering thing, something, that has no reason to be there other than to be there and to be beautiful. And Pythagoras had the theory, which is that, beautiful surroundings create beautiful people. So you look back at Greek architecture and it's symmetrical, it's beautiful, it's fluted columns. And now you look at the fucking FBI building, which is built under something called brutalism, and it's a horrific square concrete fucking box. Or if you look at modern art is always asymmetrical. Whereas in humans, we understand asymmetry as ugliness. As when we're looking at people, we're like, oh man, Aaron's put together good, Herc's put together good. They're symmetrical, they've got symmetrical features. We consider that to be handsome, or we consider that to be beautiful. You see a motherfucker with his nose over here on the side of his face, you're like, bro, what happened to that guy? And that's where modern art puts the nose, or puts the ear on the chin or some shit.
You just said something, bro. So you ever looked at the people who run this, like the people behind, how a lot of these people just keeping a 100, they're ugly?
Yeah, dude. King Charles.
They recruit the most beautiful people to do their campaigning. But when you get back there and you're like, who owns this house? And the owner comes out and you're like, the girl's like, oh, I'm staying with this guy, blah, 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 blah. Or I'm hanging out with these people. And you look, you're like, wow, man, like, they know how to manipulate beauty. And they know how to play to basically what's considered your humanly desires. And that's the thing, like the most challenging part in the spiritual battle is to understand that type of war, because it's not like your gun, or it's not dropping a bomb. It's a lot of other things, and they're so subtle and they're so natural, you don't even realize you've been seduced.
Dude, I brought up something I want to get you guys' take on. It should be pretty fun. Let me share this screen real quick. I stumbled across this, and this may be what fall in a little bit what you're talking about the hideousness behind the scenes of some of these people, and just some of the facial shit going on with this broad. It's only 3 minutes long, and we can pause at any second. All right, so this is Melinda Gates on the left. That dude on the left is Melinda Gates with the with the football player neck. Yeah, this is strong neck. This is from NPR, so I guess we paid for this with our fucking tax dollars. Let me just hit play on this, and I'll hit pause, or you guys holler pause if she says some crazy shit. But so we all know that Bill is implicated left and right on all manner of ill shit, everything from depopulation to giving
her an STD.
Yeah, making a fucking computer that's full of viruses so he can sell antivirus shit. I mean, the dude he got banged on for being a monopolist, which we're supposed to hate in America. I don't know why we stopped fucking hating monopolies around here. But all right, let me hit play on this crazy shit. And just watch this psychopath on the fucking left, man.
Have to acknowledge the elephant in the room at this moment. Your ex-husband, Bill, is named in the newest tranche of Epstein files.
Why the fuck is she smiling?
She's like, yeah, we're proud of that. We're pretty proud of that.
Okay.
And there are a new alleged details about his past behavior. And I want to give you the opportunity to respond in whatever way you want to.
You know, because Melinda's the fucking victim here. We just
You know what, man?
billionaire bitch on the left. Sorry, go ahead, Herc.
Dude, does this not look like the V or they believe? I mean, do you not see the neck? Like, it doesn't look like it's you know what I mean? Dude, for real.
It's so weird. Dude, we know what women look like. That's not what they look like. That's weird.
Look at, I'm telling you, bro, that's like that's something. There's a man. That's not real, bro.
Dude, Aaron and I have talked about
on.
this on the show before, but the physiognomy of evil.
Yeah, it manifests for sure.
You know,
it comes out of them.
Like once you're doing evil for so long, I think it does physically change the way you look. I mean, even if it's just the dark eyes, like the shark eyes that you were talking about, Herc, from Dudes in the Pen, but like
to that exact point, and then we'll get back to this. I was watching Alan Dershowitz on Pierce Morgan today, arguing with somebody, and I was just looking at his face, and I'm like, dude, that's observably a monster of some variety. That's and it's like I don't normally talk about any humans being of like subspecies or something, but I'm like, dude, whatever that is, that's not the same as me. Like that thing is not the same as me. It made me like,
yeah,
like predator, like there's a snake type shit. Like it's just, anyways. But
well, let me say this. I think we're having a reckoning as a society, right? No girl should ever be put in the situation that they were put in by Epstein and whatever
your husband
was going on with all of the various people around him. No girl.
She's like all the various people around. Bitch, you know, it's like. So I've got a theory on this. It's how you beat a lie detector, right? So when you listen to them say shit. They're not talking about us. They're not talking about our class of people. Like when you hear people talk about our democracy, and this is a threat against our democracy, they're not talking about the thing that we pretend to participate in. They're talking about this thing that they built. So from a higher level knowledge perspective, if you hit me with a lie detector and I'm talking about things I'm doing for our democracy while I'm fucking everybody over, I'm going to pass because I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about Cody, Herc, and Aaron. I'm talking about this control system I built that I'm interested in preserving and saving. And so when I talk about our democracy, I can say whatever I want in support of our democracy, and it's going to ring true because I'm not talking about the thing that you're talking about. So when she's talking about like no girl, she's probably talking about, well, me.
Yeah.
You know, like I shouldn't be put into this place where I'm being questioned by the fucking plebes. Like, and so she's like, no girl should have to, like, you guys think I'm off target there?
No. You know what? No. You made a great point because it's almost like when you separate yourself, like in a caste system or a tribal system, where it's like I'm talking about like our, people that have this private clique. I'm talking about us, not everybody. So they're not talking, like you said, about the person who goes to the job or the people who are fighting for they're talking about their group of individuals who, however, they slither around and do whatever they do behind closed doors.
Yeah. And what is this face she's making? Like she's, I think she's genuinely concerned about the pitchforks and the fucking torches. I don't think she's concerned about like.
You look at the neckline and the eyelid, bro. Is that normal?
So look like she's going to snatch a fly off the wall. You ever see that Cheech and Chong movie where the weed turns into a lizard? All right, I'm going to hit play on this again.
I mean, it's beyond heartbreaking, right? I remember being those ages, those girls were. I remember my daughters being those ages, right? So for me, it's personally hard whenever those details come up, right? Because brings back memories of some very, very painful times in my marriage, but I have moved on from that. I purposely pushed it away and I moved on. I'm in a really unexpected, beautiful place in my life. So whatever questions remain there of what I can't even begin to know all of it, those questions are for those people and for even my ex-husband. They need.
Dude, that's the other beautiful thing, man. Like, it's almost like when Jeffrey or when Bill Gates was like, well, you know, Jeffrey's dead, so there's nothing more to question there. But like, this psychopath is basically like, I personally, you know, with my 10 figures of wealth in the bank, have moved on from this. So, you know, there's no reason for me to talk about this thing, this horrific thing that's going on in the entire world time now, which all of my cohorts are involved in. You know, there's like, whatever that is, whatever that thing is, you know, that's just over there. We can move on now to the NPR audience, which is also the audience of the fucking View. All right, let this, and even the reporter, if you want to call her that, looked a little incredulous there for a second, like, Brad, what?
The answer to those things, not me.
Well,
and I am so happy to be away from.
Once again, she's saying it again. It's like neuro-linguistic programming. I'm away. I've moved away. I'm away. So we're away. Whatever comes next, I'm away.
Yeah, that's almost like code. Like, shit's gonna hit the fan, but I'm away. I'm not nowhere near this coming down.
Yeah, if there is something coming down the pike or pipe, however you want to use that analogy, like it clearly shouldn't land on me. I'm away. Like
all the muck
yeah.
that was there.
I have to put more words to the muck for context for our listeners. The emails and the files suggest that Bill Gates had additional affairs and that he tried to get medication to treat a sexually transmitted infection and that he was going to give you the medicine without you knowing. His representative has said all of this is false. It is not on you to have to respond to the details of that alleged behavior, but I wonder what your dominant emotion is when you read these news articles with these
pause
details.
for just a second. So what I'm thinking of is, what possible reason could this woman have, Melinda Gates, for coming on and subjecting herself to like these interview questions? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, is it just she's such a narcissist that any opportunity to like get in front of a camera and be talked about or something? But like, what does she gain from this? Like, if I'm her and she's a billionaire, like she got, you know, even after the divorce, she's like one of the richest ladies on the planet. It's like, what possible reason? Why is she doing this? Like, I would just be like off somewhere being rich. You know what I mean? Like, hey, can we ask you about Bill Gates' STDs? I'd be like, no. You can't.
But you gotta remember, like in I think in lore, a lot of the demons are narcissists. People in this class of narcissists, it's hard to compete with that, because even the people you see that are in trouble, they can't keep their mouth shut. You know, especially when they feel like they're above everybody. So, like you said, rather than not say anything, they'll go on and think they're saying nothing, but they're saying a whole lot by even saying anything.
Yeah.
And Aaron, I think we've talked about this before, but I know we have, but the human attention is the most valuable asset on the planet. Fuck gold, fuck platinum, fuck anything else. Like, human attention is the most valuable asset. And this broad right here, you know, this is a turd polishing interview. Right? Like there's several people out there that are turd polishers. Oprah was a famous turd polisher. Like Rogan's a turd polisher. You know, like what they need to do, what this lady can't disappear, dude. This lady can't take her billions and bounce. Right? Yeah. She needs positive access or positive attention from the plebes, man. Because the one day that the plebes are like, look, check it out. I don't care how much fucking money you have. I'm never selling you a Starbucks if you walk through that fucking door. You reserve the right to do with you. Yeah. Refuse service to demons like you. Like, she can't have that. Like, the only reason the ultra rich can ball is we allow them to. Like, if people were like, yeah, you're a scumbag and I'm not building your yacht, I'd rather build this guy a fucking pontoon boat than build you another mega yacht. I don't care if I only make fucking $50,000 this year. They can't have it.
Dude, Look at her. I mean, I think you guys, we already said it, but I'm just stuck because it's freeze frame. Look at her like black, soulless eyes compared to that other lady. Like, I just keep going back and forth. I'm like, that looks like a different kind of life form.
Well, going back to her smirk and her body language too, I'm by no means a body language expert, but having to be in places where people's body language could mean you live or die in the next few minutes. I think I got pretty hip to it. But that looking down into the left thing, like she's searching, and that fucking little duper's delight grin she's got on, like she's searching for the next line of bullshit.
Okay, look at the lady on the right. Look at her cheeks, right? She's an older woman. Look at her neck. Look at her eyes. Look at her eyelids, bro. Look at her. Yeah. Look at her eyes. Almost like that Mission Impossible type shit. Look at the cheeks. It's over. Like, look at the look, bro. There's a lot of little things. I mean, maybe because we're more conscious. I'm like, you can't just pull the wool. I'm not gonna. There's some shit that's not. It's not. It doesn't look right. I don't know if I'm like tripping because like you said, freeze frame. But the more you look at it,
yeah,
look at the eyes for real. Like you said, dude, look how bright her eyes are. Look at this lady's complexion compared to hers.
Yeah, it's weird.
Dude, Melinda has been allegedly, I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm not saying anything for a fact. I'm just observing from an outside perspective, man. She's probably allegedly, my guess, my opinion, like she knows shit, dude. She knows shit. She's fucking.
Oh, she definitely knows
parties
shit,
where people have said shit, bro. You know, like,
dude, if she wasn't fully actively participating in it, she definitely knows. You know what I mean? Like that's probably why she won't sell old Bill out completely, because, you know, they may have had their falling out, but I bet you.
Well, it goes back to what we were talking about in the last show, man. You don't shit on somebody else's hustle, man. Like, yeah. Because at what point do you become a fucking accomplice? You know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Herc probably know better than us. Like, at what point are you an accomplice as the old lady? You know, like,
I don't even think you can be involved with a person of that caliber if you haven't, in some degree, being indoctrinated. Otherwise, you will lose your mind. And not to get off track, but have you seen, like, when you have these celebrities and their wives, and there's an instance, and maybe the wife commits suicide, or she has a drug overdose, or blah blah blah? What do you think really happens there, bro? Maybe she's like, there's some type of, you know, disruption in what's going on. So you have to find a way to plausibly get rid of that person. So you have to be a part of it. If somehow you decide not to roll with it and you're that far embedded in it, something happens to you, man. I feel. I'm just saying.
Former Miss Kennedy hanging herself. I'm just saying, just guessing, just allegedly.
Yeah.
Well, Miss Kennedy. I mean, what's the guy? The guy who owned the mansion that Rob Reiner lived in before him, a big actor. I'm gonna tell you real quick, but he had a couple wives, and they had like really weird deaths.
Kept coming up dead.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now.
Here, I'll let us play a little bit while we pull that up.
Okay.
See what her answer is.
Sad, just unbelievable sadness.
Oh.
Unbelievable sadness, right? And again, I'm able to take my own sadness and look at those young girls and say, my God, how did that happen to those girls?
Hey, Cody, right? She couldn't. Did you notice that? As soon as she said, look at those young girls, she couldn't suppress her duper grin, her duper's delight.
Yeah.
It's crazy how these people are, dude. Sometimes I think I'm like reading too much shit into it, but too. It's just crazy how they are.
She did that shit where I'm like, hey man, what about this thing? And you're like, yeah, dude, I love the color purple, man. I love purple grapes. Yeah. I love purple soda. Yeah. Like and you're like, I asked you what you did yesterday. Yeah, man. You know, this one time I had my first car, like a fucking Volkswagen Bug, dude. Really easy to work on. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
is this?
I mean, that's crazy. Every slick talking politician type.
There's certain things like you guys have a keen sense for like dealing with people because of like just foreign and interrogation tactics, all this stuff. So when you look at this stuff, and that's why they like to keep you on the team, you can see the bullshit. It's just like when you go into a detective's office and the guy's sitting there and he's lying. He's like, dude, come on. You know what I mean? Like a dude in the hood. You don't even know how to lie. You know what I mean? You can't hide it. Like, we found it. What'd you find?
So you bought the beer at 10 o'clock.
I said at 7 o'clock. Yeah, I got you. It's the same shit. Like these people, they think that the public, for the most part, are that stupid, so they can literally give off certain signals and people won't catch it. But you can catch it and see that there's a deflection there.
We had to get one of our homies on here that was an interrogator, man. I know a couple that might do it. Like dudes that were allowed to use some fucking aggressive tactics, Like, hey, if she changed the subject right there, would you just fucking open hand slap her directly across the face and be like, I'm gonna ask you one more time.
Look at her eye movement. I mean, everything says something else. And who knows? Like, you gotta remember, this is another thing you're not thinking about. Remember, this is the trick that the Lucifer plays on, or the devil, whoever you want to say, Baal, Moloch, is that you think that you're gonna get all this and it just keeps going forever. See, they also sacrifice their own.
Do they hate
what I mean? That's the trick.
Yeah,
of it. Like what they think, like, you see, God's love is internal, but Lucifer, he don't give a F about anybody. So Bill Gates is not immune, bro. So even if this turns into something, or we don't know how, but at the end of the day, he thought he was on the right team. So you get sacrificed, I'll sacrifice you too.
Dude, look what these people do to their kids. You ever play that game where you look up, you can run a search for like celebrities who have had a child die under strange circumstances? Dude, athletes, actors, actresses, politicians. It's like, you look at it and you're like, there's no way that's just, but you don't want to believe, because what you hear is, hey, this is a thing they do where they're like, hey, you're going to sacrifice one of your own offspring to get fame.
He's scared to drop his next album because he don't know who's next. The first one, his mom died. Second one, his homeboy got smoked. The third one, who knows? It might be his kid. And I want to say it was the rapper, was ASAP or somebody, or Travis Scott. But dude, these guys, there's always a sacrifice. Like you say, you think it's accident. Dude, what is your sacrifice? And then you got to live with that sacrifice. Why do you think these people, after shit happens, they're all screwed up in the head? Like, you're like, dude, why is that guy on lean? Why is he a drug addict? This guy's rich. He travels the world. He has all the women, but he's messed up mentally. He's dealing with all these in and out of rehab, all these different things. Even look at some of the guys who have become major sports announcers. Child died in the pool. So-and-so was swimming. I mean, dude, there's a lot of, and some of these kids, if your kid is not sacrificed, they might be in prison. So-and-so committed this. Dude, there's a lot of, like you said, go through Coolio, Little John's son.
There's so many. It's like, I mean? Dude, Michael Jordan was a high profile one. Kanye's mom died from some shit. Like,
and there's different ways you sacrifice your
Nicole
kids.
Kidman's dad.
Either you sacrifice them with, like you said, death, or sexually. You give your kid and let him be prostituted out.
Or I think a lot of them are like, there's so many of them have a trans kid now. It's crazy. Like even like big sports guys have trans kids. Like, who's that basketball guy whose kid's trans?
Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, dude, Dwayne Wade's kid is trans. It's crazy.
Statistically anomalous is the term.
There's no way that these people are just, it's crazy.
Do you know that they also say that the big thing, in order for you to be even hypnotized, but also for a spirit to enter you, is like high trauma. So the more trauma I can experience you to as a young person, the easier it is later to control you or to use you as a vessel. So these people, when they reach a certain height, they somehow have to create this trauma. And you got to figure, like, a lot of this stuff is generational. So if this person was abused and then they were in that same industry, then when the next person comes in, they also kind of like subject their own children. I mean, I was listening to something, bro. The lady from the girl from the Mamas and the Papas said her dad slept with her until she was 18.
The Rob Reiner, whose kid just murdered him and his wife, there was that whole thing about Rob Reiner, like credible accusations that Rob Reiner had been abusing his kid.
Who his dad was, right?
Rob Reiner's dad?
Dude, his dad came up with the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Right. And the thing that I saw was a clip of some award ceremony where they were like joking about Rob Reiner growing up being raped by his famous dad. That's my point.
Dude,
I said it wrong.
That clip which you're talking about with Billy Crystal talking about his dad, and they said like literally, I should have my friends come over. So who knows how many guys, you see what I'm saying? So
dude, you don't make a joke like that out of thin blue air. You know, like that joke's funny to those people because they know it's real, you know?
Yeah, you don't laugh about something like that. Henry Fonda, he had 5 wives. The house he lived in is the same house Rob Reiner lived in afterwards.
Damn, so that's like the Amityville horror house, basically. Like,
think about the energy in that, right? Henry Fonda was married 5 times, but rarely talks about his ex-wives, right? So they say, let me see, blah, 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 blah.
Henry Fonda, he was in, the only thing I can think of is Easy Rider.
Okay, well.
What are the movies that dude in?
Well, an old Hanoi Jane Fonda was in on keeping the fucking old thing under wraps.
That bitch.
So I got rid of that broad because I figured we beat that horse to death. But so what I brought up with is, so she's of a different class of people. And Aaron and I were talking about this on our last show, man. Like, with us discussing this dude, Dan Pena, man, who was operating at a level where, you know, where like plebeian morality and the things that we're concerned about down on this level are not the concern of the extra national class of folks. Right. So there's a really cool movie out right now. And like, I know we say things about movie a lot, but movies nowadays, when they're done by the right people, really are the continuation of like the Greek theater, you know, or like your Shakespearean plays, you know, where they really are putting out information, you know, especially certain directors, Kubrick, you know. So what I brought up here is a scene from The Phoenician Scheme. And The Phoenician Scheme is a Wes Anderson movie, and Wes Anderson's another dude that'll put some shit out, you know, metaphorically, some occult knowledge, right? So check out this scene real quick from The Phoenician Scheme. So basically what's happening is Benicio del Toro's character is one of those dudes who's operating at another level, right? And in the beginning of the movie, one of his impetus to start moving is there's another group of people that have decided that if they raise the price of rivets like 3 fucking cents, you know, it'll like destroy his entire fucking empire. You know, they've done like the analysis where like, you know what, man, if we bump the price of rivets, that's all we got to do. We don't have to do anything crazy. You know, like we can cost this dude billions of dollars with just a few extra cents on a rivet. But so he's flying all over the place trying to pull some fucking scheme off. And it's pretty funny. It's called the Phoenician Scheme because the Phoenicians are, you know, an interesting group of people. But check out this scene when they're about to land.
We're starting our descent. Prepare your documents before we deplane so you never delay my schedule. Passports.
That's yours.
I don't have a passport. Normal people want the basic human rights that accompany citizenship in any sovereign nation. I don't. My legal residence is a shack in Portugal. My official domicile is a hut on the Black Sea. My certificated abode is a lodge perched on the edge of a cliff overlooking the sub-Saharan rainforest, accessible only by goat path. I don't live anywhere. I'm not a citizen at all. I don't need my human rights.
I love that.
That's gangster.
Dude, that guy rules. Is he a shithead in this movie or is he cool?
I mean, a little column A, a little column B, you know.
But he's not like a kid raper or anything.
No, I mean not overtly in the movie, you know. He's
okay. I like him.
It's I mean that's what it is, man.
Look, I don't have any. This is a different subject, kind of, but it's not like, you know, Epstein related. But like for that example, dude, I have no qualms and I have no issues at all with somebody who figures out like the rules of the realm or whatever and exploits legal loopholes or something like that where someone figures out some way to like not be in the system. Fine with me. Steal all the money you want from the banks. Fine with me. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to do that shit, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm just, you know, tell me how you did it or something, you know, but like, yeah, I like that, you know. Yeah,
my point in bringing that out is that exists, it's extra, this thing that we're in, this game, this matrix, if you will, of all of these rules where you have to do this, pat your belly, tap your head, do all the fucking dumb shit, that there is, a side door, like out of the fucking quest, basically.
Well, it becomes almost like that Denzel movie. Remember in Training Day when he comes back to the projects, Ethan Hawke, he's like, oh, my nigga, you made it. All right.
Like that. You passed your final test. Good job. That's such a good movie, man.
Yeah,
That's
man. It's like, you were able to get through there because it's like if me, you, and Aaron went to Hamptons and we're hanging out jet skiing and shit, they're looking like, how the fuck did they get here? We know how we got here, but what the fuck did you guys do? How'd you figure it out? Damn, we thought we closed all the doors behind us. You fuckers made it through here.
I mean, so the interesting part of that is if Ethan Hawke would have been cool, you think Denzel would have just okay,
no,
choose your own adventure book. If he would have
Denzel, no way.
No, you don't think so?
No way.
I think with that role, it was a test, but either way, he could have never been trusted because he was going to throw somebody under the bus if he had to.
Yeah.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like you learn at the end or towards the end of the movie that like the plan the entire time was to get Ethan Hawke there to make him the fall guy for it, right? Or to
that guy, remember he took that guy's money because he needed to pay off the Russians.
Yeah, right. So the whole he recruited him just to do that to him.
You're right.
But back to the left of that. Do you think he was looking for a square to get murdered, or do you think earlier, for example, with I forgot the name of that actor that they shoot after stealing his money, but do you think if Ethan would have shot that guy and took the money, the rest of the crew would have been like,
that's interesting. Yeah, when he had that opportunity to play ball.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good thought experiment because
or you just think
no, because he still needed. Okay, maybe they'd have thought, okay, this guy's down, but that didn't solve his problem. He still needed.
Well, he was grooming him too. So there's a point there, like you're right. It could have went either way, because if he would have done it, then he could have now made him part of the team, which adds another dimension to the team. But when he didn't go along with it, he had to have a plan B, which was to take him to the hood.
Oh, okay.
Deal with him. Because remember, they were gonna, even if he would have shot him, they would have made it seem like, okay, man, we got him, because now he's a conspirator, so he can never leave.
Yeah.
So Dre, in exchange for that, Dre had to take the shot, and then they had to play it. Dre did the shot. They shot the other guy, and then Ethan, like, because he was a witness to all that, he had to get disposed of.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So
because he calls the dude in the bathtub from the car.
Yeah.
So okay. So there was okay. All right. Yeah. Dang.
Well, it's just like any initiation, right? If you're riding in the car and they're like, hey, there you go. Here, Aaron, here's the gun. You're like, no, man, here, man, I got one for you too. Like, put it out the window. You're like, what? Hold on, man. You're like, what? You're not gonna do it with it, you know what I mean? Yeah. They have to have that, man. It's just like with these people. You go to a party, if you want to go, you'll never be invited again. Well, you got to participate, bro. If you leave, and I go back there, and I've seen a situation like this. I've been at a person's spot, bro, and I remember one time he said, "Hey, man, go back there. Go ahead, it's cool, bro." I go back there. I didn't do nothing, but there was a naked female, and I'm like, I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, blah blah blah." He's like, "Man," I come out. Did you go back there and do it? I'm like, "Nah, dude. What? Dude, go back. Go ahead. Go." Dude, that was a setup, man. I'm telling you, this is some real shit. I went back there, butt naked, in the thing, shower, whatever, and he's like, "Oh man," and he's like, "You didn't?" He's like, "Dude, go ahead, go back." I'm like, "Nah, I'm cool, dude. All right, man. Don't worry about it, blah 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 blah. We hanging out." After a little while, he's like, "Oh man, I'll holler at you tomorrow." He walks me to the door. Later on, some other people come over and party. I know some strippers, some other girls, and they were like, "Yeah, you left." And later on, we had another party, but you weren't there because he knows you don't get out like that. I didn't do blow with him. I didn't participate in that little escapade with that female back there and force myself, which I know people who do this. Ron Jeremy, I know a girl, she was showering, he went back there and did that to her. So I know he was a piece of shit. And they would do this regularly. These guys on the sets with these girls, they're done, and dudes will try to be like, well, you just did those other guys, so they expect, and that's not, that's not part of the program. But that's how dudes operate, bro. And I've seen dudes do that. And that same guy I'm talking about, he used to do that all the time. They would go back there afterwards and just like, assuming, and the girls assuming. And there's a lot of guys I can recall, I would be like, hey man, I got the, blah, 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 just, once again in business. And you're like, damn, what's going on? I remember opening the door and the dude was pounding her. I'm like, dude, what the hell's going on? You know what I mean? I didn't tell her. He's like, oh, you know what I mean? Oh, I got to test all this.
All that shit's like amazing to me because it's like, isn't like the fun part of getting laid the fact that like you convince some chick to do it? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Or that she's a willing participant in the thing, like
you're a normal human.
These dudes that are like, oh, she has to let me bang her because, she's not in a position really to say no. Well, that doesn't like, what are you doing, dude? Like, these are people that can't get pussy like normal, like a normal.
No, it's just a level of perversion, bro. Girls were cool with me because I would like give them a ride home, pick them up, whatever. Hey, can I ride with you? I remember a girl saying, the guy's like, I'll give you a ride. She's like, can I ride with you? I'm like, I'll give you a ride. Creepy photographer, weird producer. This dude right here, he's he's still trying to like, there's some weird dudes, bro. That's why the business, even when I was in that industry, I used to be like, this dude's a fucking weirdo, bro. What the fuck is up with you, man?
Well, just think about it. Like, you got the talent, right? Whatever. But then everybody in the, all the other people involved are probably there because they don't have access to women like a normal person would get access to them by like having some game, having some way. So they're like, well, I can get access to them in this weird way. Like I can go to a place where there's sex happening and I can run the camera or something and be a creep and like catch some strays or something. I don't know. Like
there's a lot of that. And there's also, it's levels, bro. Like, so the adult entertainment is the gateway for Hollywood and the sex stuff because they use those people to kind of get a lot of the other shit cracking, like whether it's, indulging in your fantasies, doing certain things. I can recall, girls told me about parties. I don't know if you'd be cool, but there's this guy, you probably heard of him before, but they also like to suck a little cock. I'm like,
get a lot of that,
blah, 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 but they're straight, this and that. But they want to see if you're cool with that, then, oh, he's cool with that. Then the next party, it might be a chick with a dick. You know what I mean? Then they fill you out, bro. They fill you out, and then you don't know who they told, who's throwing the party. You know what I mean? So whoever throws that party, and you got to remember when you go into the party, there's other faces. And so, damn, wow. Oh, you're cool. Then they're like, oh, you're cool with this. So that means you can go to the next party. And it just keeps you get to these parties, bro.
Well, it's funny. It's starting to seem like the top of the pyramid of power in our world. It's like the top part of that pyramid is just populated by just strictly like malevolent perverts. It's like it almost starting to seem like it's a requirement. Like you can get this high as like a straight guy. You want to, because I think all these guys are like, they're like pretty gay too. Most of these dudes, like these, like if you're doing like the shit these people are into is crazy.
Think about this, right? If you ever read anything about like Caligula, Greek, and just like that whole the Senate. In order to be part of the Senate, you had to be like bisexual. Like those guys were slave. They were doing, even if you look at like the movie Denzel, they were into that. So if you wanted to ascend certain levels, because in their levels it's fluid, and that's your business, whatever you choose. But in order, like you said, to achieve the highest level, because money and all that stuff is nothing, bro. When you start talking about like the sexuality and the rush, which you get from, this guy doing this with this girl, and you got all this, it's like a smorgasbord. That's what they, and it's like, once they got you in there to get out, bro, like the rush, it's like, there's no money that can buy that. It's an experience.
There you go. That's it. It's
you know what I mean? Like
these guys are going after, they have all the money, right? Like they can't, another Bugatti is not going to get their nut. You know what I mean? Like they got to get like they got to do this
You
other
need
shit.
flesh, bro. The flesh. It's not the same as beating your meat. You beat your meat. Look, these dudes want the flesh. They want to fornicate. They need the exchange, bro. That connection gives them power. It's energy. It's like I'm taking energy. If you're a guy and this is the thing, I remember a guy said, we don't want gay, we want straight. We want the straight guy.
Yeah, to make them do something they're not inclined to do.
To take your butt. If I take your
take
butt,
your
you're
butt.
straight. If you're willing to give it to me and you've been
That's
doing
no
it
fun.
your whole life, it's no challenge.
Yeah, that's no fun.
You're everybody looks at you. You're the stud. You just ran for 300 yards the last football game, or you used to be the man in college, and now I'm over here and I'm busting your butt.
Well, dude, you know what else must break these guys? You know what else must fuck these guys up? So let's say you're like any of these people from a certain part of the world seem to be, but let's call it like that guy Harvey Weinstein, right? Well, rich as you can be, all this power in Hollywood, he's dating like famous actresses and stuff, right? So, but it must break their brains that they can have all that going on, right? Or me and you and Cody could be at a party with them and like get an actual girl, like just from talking to him or something, like make that actually happen. You know what I mean? No power, no money. I don't have, I got $50 on my wallet or something, and I pulled up in a fucking Honda Accord or something. I could probably make something happen. You know what I mean? It's possible or even likely. You know what I mean? Right? That's a reality for us. We can do that, right? This guy's got all the money in the world, and he's such a goblin that no woman, absent all that money and power, would have anything to do with him at all. Like, he's absolutely repellent to women, repels them. They must hate women at that point, where it's like, I've achieved all this stuff, and I can tell by the look on your face that I make you want to vomit. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's why they take the most beautiful women and violate them in the worst ways.
Yeah. They're just beasts, dude. And
how about this for a weird thought? I mean, it's pretty, I think, documented at this point that Epstein had an egg-shaped fucking ween, and I guess maybe even Harvey had a strange.
Harvey Weinstein had a fucking weird-shaped
fucking dick,
micro dick, dude.
I think even Cat Williams was just making fun of it recently. That the common denominator against all these guys is like a micro penis, like a penis like 3 inches and less, erect. Well, what is Bill Gates? What the fuck is the name of his software?
Windows.
Microsoft.
Microsoft. Dude, these guys.
Since we're getting kind of long in the teeth here, man, I was going to share another video with you guys, and this one, I don't even know if this one will get fucking chopped from YouTube. So, but it'll definitely make it onto the Patreon. But man, I watch a lot of weird shit, man. And I stumbled upon this one. I think me and the wife were just looking for something to watch, and I was like, "What the fuck is this, man?" So, dude, check this shit out. This is a claymation movie where Mark Twain gets a bunch of kids and like takes them on like a fucking hot air balloon ride, man. And somewhere in this hot air balloon ride, they're going through all these different areas. I don't even know what all this weird shit in the back says, but if you stop and like look at it, but I'm just going to let this run through, man. Tell me to stop if you want me to pause it. But dude, check this creepy shit out. And I think it explains a lot of the mentality that we're fucking dealing with here. And I thought about it earlier when we were talking about the mentality of like the controllers and all these fucking people.
Is a vapor. The only earthly certainty is oblivion.
Welcome to the mysterious stranger.
What?
Hello.
Who are you?
An angel.
What's your name?
Satan.
I guess so.
That's crazy.
What's the matter?
Nothing. Only it's sure a sorry name for an angel.
Wow. Please come in.
It's crazy. Don't go outside with Satan.
Yeah, what the fuck you doing?
Amazing. It's like an island.
Did you see that?
How do you learn to do that?
I didn't learn it at all. It comes naturally to me, like other curious things. Are you hungry?
Sure am.
What kind of fruit do you like the most?
Oranges. Apples.
Grapes.
Ooh.
Give them what they want.
Where'd he go?
What happened to him?
There. Oh boy.
Can we help?
You may make some people.
I'll make the king and queen.
I'm gonna make a soldier.
Look at that little village.
Here's a buddy.
Now we'll give them life.
Moving.
Looks like my pap on Saturday night.
Wow.
Look, they're moving.
There's like regular people.
Weird shit, dude.
I find you humans quite interesting, even though you are a worthless, greedy lot. How annoying that sound is. Fools. What fascinations there are on this planet. Strange mortals with curious customs. We'll have a storm now, and an earthquake if you like. You must stand aside, out of danger. I can do no wrong, for I do not know what it is.
You murdered him.
Never mind them. People are of no value. We could make more sometime, if we need them.
Yeah, man.
Pretty
So
weird.
there's a fun fucking kids show for you.
Really weird.
It's I don't know, man. Yeah, I stumbled upon that one night, and I think that there's more that goes to that scene, but there's no reason to play the entire thing. Go check it out if you want. That's the the fuck is the name of that movie? The Adventures of Mark Twain. It's the label of that's like the creepiest fucking scene from any kids movie.
Dude, that's
Pretty wild.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting where the humans start going wild, and this fucking demiurge creature just decides to wipe them all out and start over. It's and he's like, yeah, I don't know anything about good and evil. I just fuck them. We'll make more if we need to.
Yeah, let's just wipe these ones out.
Interesting, man. I thought I would share that because I'm like,
there was
dude.
a guy on the post I've seen today, and a dude had he walked out the interview because he was more of a Christian based, or I think a belief based guy. But the guy was saying, if I seen somebody attacking my wife, and I would go in there and stop him because that would be the thing to do. And he said, you would do that because that is your reaction to the situation. But to say that that's a bad thing, it depends on which side you're on. And the dude looked at him. He said, so you mean to tell me that hurting little kids and doing this and that is not in itself innate evil? He says, well, it depends on how you look at it. And when the dude, he's like, I got to end this conversation. And the guy left, but the dude is trying to rationalize, and he looks like some weird oblong head, some weird dude, but he's talking with this guy in the interview, and I can't remember who it was, but it goes back to what you're saying, like these people don't look at certain people as being human or having any type of spiritual connection with them. Then whatever happens to them, it doesn't affect them either way. So they're able to justify carrying out whatever actions because of what their perception of a spiritual connection is. And that's why they've been trying to get rid of our spiritual connection among each other for the longest, because they don't want us having that bond, to have a humanity side, to have this connection or attraction or feeling that we're a part of something, because the only way you can control them is to have that separation and to make it seem like we're all battling over here while you have these people over here that are really manipulating the whole scene. Just like the guy was doing it, and they just, they pretty much crush you.
I've never agreed with people that are like, oh, well, there's a certain point of view, or there's this or there's that, man. I mean, that's the original slippery slope, man. There's either right or wrong, good or evil. Shakespeare talks about it, to be or not to be. It's a binary choice. It's on or off, up or down, left or right, male or female.
It's almost like false. Guys who go to these other countries and then they're hanging out with, I'm helping the village, but they're hanging out with somebody underage in the village, and they're thinking they're like, because the family's dirt poor and they're now taking care of the family, but they sacrifice their daughter. Bro, that shit ain't right. It's just because you're over there and you're not in prison for it doesn't mean it's okay. You know what I mean? You're engaging in something that is morally wrong, but you're saying, well, these people, they accept it, so it should be accepted. And that's not how shit works, man.
No. I'm good to leave it there, man. That's right.
Amen to that. Well, Herc, man, thanks for hanging out, dude.
Hey, awesome, thank you, always.
All right, brothers. Yeah, man. We'll keep chatting, and we'll figure out a way through this shit, man, one way or another.
All right, always a pleasure, man.
All right, thanks, sir. Aaron, have a great night, brother.
All right.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us.